Good everyone. Welcome to the show. My name's Nichols, and thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to talk about the fact that you really need to go and find your strategic path before that path comes to find you. What I mean by that is you really need to spend each day pursuing that strategic path, or what will happen is that you'll get these uncertainties and fears that arise throughout the day, and if you don't have this very strong path that you're constantly pursuing and thinking about strategically, then that will come for you and that will distract you from all the work you're trying to do throughout the day. So two of the things you really have to do every single day, one of them is you've got to work on your transferable skills. So whatever it is about your job or whatever it is about around your job, the things that you can learn that help you with both your job but also a lot of other jobs, those things you need to really make sure you work on every day if you possibly can. And the second thing you need to do is work out the general course of action that you need to take. So, for instance, what might another job look like? Might another job in the same organization look like? What might another sideways move look like? What might jumping the railway tracks entirely and doing something completely different look like? If you don't actively kind of pursue them in some concrete way, at the end of the day as part of strategic vision, or at the very least at the end of each week, then they will come for you, and while you're trying to do the work in front of you, you'll be plagued and beset by doubts about the world. And it's not that you're on the wrong path, it's just that you haven't set enough time separate from the path you're following to consider all the other paths. You are on the right path, there is only one path, but what you need to do while you're on that path is make sure you consider the branches along that thing, and make sure you're always developing those transferable skills and always considering the course of action of other paths. This is something that Mike Glover from Fieldcraft Survival talks about in really good detail, developing a course of action. So when you go and think of that possible dream job or thing you might do, understand what the detail of that is. For instance, why are you doing it? What do you see the 5-year plan? What's the monetary value of it? How are you going to monetize it? How are you going to pay the bills? And really, what is the deep reason for you doing that? So really consider all these courses of action, and not just that one, consider multiple courses of action that lead from your current path. If you consider them all in detail and have a routine each day, or at very least each week, to consider those other courses of action, then you're never stuck in the situation of, my job's hard, I can still do it, but it's hard, and maybe I should be doing something else, because you're always working towards that, quote, something else. So you will always be more content with your current path and always be reassured that you'll continuously develop other options as you go. And really, the main reason why we do this is when we're following our path, the only path, the worst thing that can happen is you're doing something difficult and you're like, okay, I think I can do this, I'm struggling, but I can do it. And that little voice will come up and go, you should do this other thing. This will be easier. This will be more fulfilling. This will help people, your family more, or whatever. And that's like the worst thing. That's the thing that'll derail you, even if you're doing the right thing. And you really need to deal with that. And again, the way to deal with that is every single day, develop your transferable skills and cultivate the other course of action. So at least you have a very impartial way of knowing what the right thing to do is, and over time those courses of action will evolve. And sure, sometime in your life there might be the moment to go, okay, that's definitely the one I should be focusing on developing, and then so be it. That's what you do. But what you don't want to be doing is struggling and focusing on just one thing so much that you kind of forget about the future, and then all those doubts can resurface and you don't have any framework to deal with them. And always there's this idea of, hey, maybe I should have made better choices and then I'd have an easier life. Look, that's probably true. I'm not saying you'd ever have an easier life, but every choice is imperfect. But there is only this one choice and only this one path. And only really from here can you develop the routine that allows you to make the best strategic choices. That's all there is. Everything else is distraction. Everything else is illusion. There isn't like an easy way to choose a better future. The only way is to have a routine that's the best routine you can possibly have of strategic planning and strategic thinking, and that will naturally lead you to better strategic choices. That's in fact the only thing there is. There isn't an easy other way. You just got to strive to make the best of your current path in each moment, and towards the end of the day or the end of the week, then just work out the best strategic routine of how you explore those other courses of action. That's all you can actually do. The rest of it is just an illusion, a distracting illusion that will just attract away from your ability to fulfill your potential. For every path that you must take, it'll always be difficult. There'll always be doubts because it will always be difficult. And for every path you take, there are always hundreds of other paths you didn't, and that's okay. The truth is that you do need to follow the path that is yours. And even though it feels somewhat selfish sometimes, as long as you are doing this as an act of service, then it is, in some sense, a defensible thing to do. Besides, the truth is, whether you're a good person or whether you consider yourself a not so good person, you can only ever follow your path to be fulfilled. So if you try and do something else and be captured by other people's interests, eventually you'll start to feel resentful and it won't work. So you still have to always follow your path, although you can assist others along the way. That's all you can ever do. That's your job, that's your responsibility, and I guess that's your right, as long as that path is in service in some way of the greater good. All right, well, thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.